It's Tuesday, May 9th, and this is now on HNN.
Former President Trump found liable for battery and defamation in a civil trial. I'm Michael George with how much the jury awarded and how long it took them to reach a verdict.
Here at home, a Puna man has been charged with kidnapping and assault after a brutal beating in Carroll.
Lawmakers are holding a town hall meeting to discuss street parking issues in Oahu neighborhoods. These stories, plus a possible meteorite crashes into a New Jersey home. Details on the bizarre investigation coming up on This Is Now.
Aloha and good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here on This Is Now. After a 7-day trial, a Manhattan jury finds Donald Trump liable for sexual abuse and defamation in the E. Jean Carroll case.
Yeah, Trump's attorney says the former president will appeal the verdict. Michael George reports from New York.
A New York jury found former President Donald Trump liable in the civil lawsuit brought by E. Jean Carroll, accusing him of battery and defamation.
E. Jean was able to access the civil court system. That is a success. It does not matter what the verdict is.
The 79-year-old writer sued the former president last November, alleging he raped her in a department store dressing room in the mid-1990s and then defamed her by denying it ever happened.
It's the most ridiculous, disgusting story. It was just made up.
Trump did not take the stand and didn't appear at the trial. Jurors did watch the former president's videotaped deposition.
And I said it, and I say it with as much respect as I can, but she is not my type.
Jurors were also shown the Access Hollywood tape made public just before the 2016 election.
You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab him by the
Carroll's attorneys painted the alleged attack as part of a pattern of behavior and called other Trump accusers to the stand.
She obviously presented an amazing case, and he had no defense and didn't even show up.
Attorneys for Trump argued Carroll was trying to profit from a false story and questioned her memory. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
The jury awarded Carroll about $5 million in damages. After the verdict, the former President Trump posted on social media saying, "I have absolutely no idea who this woman is. The verdict is a disgrace, a continuation of the greatest witch hunt of all time."
We're learning more about the victims in that deadly mall shooting in Allen, Texas. 3 members from one family, including a mother, father, and their 3-year-old son, were killed, along with 2 young sisters. Now, the gunman's motive is still unclear, but his internet searches indicate he was very interested in far-right white supremacist ideology. Omar Villafranca has more.
Law enforcement officials in Texas revealed details of the investigation into Saturday's deadly mall shooting.
The FBI is currently analyzing electronic devices and digital media connected to the suspect.
Internet searches linked the gunman, 33-year-old Mauricio Garcia, to far-right and white supremacist ideology.
We do know that he had neo-Nazi ideation. He had patches, he had tattoos.
Authorities say the shooter worked for 3 security companies between 2016 and 2020, where he received firearms training and passed a background check.
The big question that we're dealing with right now is what's his motive? Why did he do this? Well, the big question is we don't know.
At the mall, the memorial for the shooting victims is growing. Among those killed, 3 members of the Cho family, Mom Cindy, Dad Q, and their 3-year-old son, James. Their 6-year-old son, William, was wounded. Also killed, 4th grader Daniela Mendoza and her younger sister, Sophia.
Just devastated. It hits really, really close to home.
This mom says the sisters attended the same gymnastics school as her daughter.
Everyone gets along and we love each other, so just getting that email was really sad.
The community is wearing yellow in their memory. Omar Villafranca, CBS News, Allen, Texas.
A Puna man has been charged with kidnapping and assault after a brutal beating in Carroll. 31-year-old Ocean Hedgent was arrested Friday after the alleged victim showed up to the Carroll fire station with severe injuries. He told police Hegent tied him up inside a residence where he punched, kicked, and stabbed him several times. Officers later arrested Hegent at the home, where they found knives, nunchucks, and a rope. He's set to appear in court tomorrow, and his bail has been set at $85,000.
On Hawaii Island, 22 fentanyl arrests have been made in just the last 4 months. From January through April, officers recovered nearly 600 pills and 400 grams of the synthetic opioid, which is 50 times more potent than heroin. Most of the arrests were in West Hawaii. In a statement, the Hawaii Police Department said, quote, "Criminal drug networks are mixing this dangerous synthetic opioid into illegal counterfeit pills and selling them as legitimate prescription pills, often with deadly consequences."
The trial of Michael Hirokawa continues today. He's accused of a violent sexual attack that led to attempted murder and kidnapping charges. So far in the trial, we've heard from the victim through a translator. Taking the stand today via Zoom are two friends of the victim. We'll bring you the latest on this story in later editions of Hawaii News Now.
An Oahu tour boat company is being fined $1,000 for getting too close to dolphins while the boat was idle. Federal law requires people to stay 50 yards away from the Hawaiian spinner dolphin. In January, an incident on Oahu's west side triggered an investigation by NOAA that found the company in violation. The boat was idling but slowly moving near several dolphins.
They know the dolphins traverse these areas during the daytime hours, so why not put yourself in a position that where there's a very high probability or a chance that the dolphins will swim past where you're swimming because you're basically in their bedroom.
In a statement, the company Dolphins and You said, quote, "Our company cares deeply about the safety of the dolphins. We have a good relationship with NOAA and are taking proper steps to follow the guidelines set forth and ensure their safety."
Well, it just got tougher for the state to get back the $460,000 it spent to remove a luxury yacht at Maui's Honolua Bay. Jim Jones, the owner of the Nākoa, confirmed in federal court that his insurance company has denied coverage and he's hired a bankruptcy attorney. It's unclear who is left to pay the state's costs for salvage and reef repairs. Jones is currently representing himself in a lawsuit filed by his investors for more than $2 million. They claim he violated his contract when the yacht ran aground in February. He has denied any negligence.
The Hawaii State Judiciary is warning that scammers are impersonating sheriff's deputies and are calling people on the phone looking for money. We're told the crooks are claiming to have a bench warrant because the person missed jury duty. One victim in Makiki said they tried to get him to pay $90,000.
People just need to be cautious. And they had all my information. They had my name, my address, they had my social security number.
The judiciary says it will never call or email to inform of an outstanding warrant or summons. If you get one of these calls, hang up and report it to police.
Well, restricted parking zones like the ones put up in Kalihi Valley in 2017 could become a more common sight here on Oahu. Our Casey Lund is in downtown to talk about all the parking issues.
One-way streets, minimal street parking spaces, and actually very few structures. The ones that are down here certainly aren't cheap. We talked to folks who live and work downtown about the restricted parking zone measure and what the city can do to make parking in Oahu's central core a little easier for everyone.
I feel like they should make a parking structure that's more affordable for everybody, especially those who live and work here.
Actually, it is a real hassle downtown. I do a little bit of both, parking downtown and, parking elsewhere.
Oh, it's really bad. That's why I come super early, just to miss all that.
Whether you park at a commercial lot or one of the many municipal parking spaces inside privately owned businesses downtown, it can definitely get expensive.
I work in downtown and I park at Bishop Square.
Do you mind asking what you pay, or is that included with your job?
My job pays half and I pay half.
Paul Strauss owns a photography studio in Chinatown. He's had his own challenges finding affordable and reliable parking near his business.
For the first year, maybe year and a half, I was parking on the street and it was just always a hassle, and then I finally ended up renting a spot in the municipal Smith and Beretania municipal parking lot, which has been great, and I don't have to worry about it.
Can I ask how much you pay though?
It's I think it's like 125.
And he may have gotten a pretty good deal. Looking at the city's website, $125 is what most people pay at those municipal lots inside privately owned businesses. But you can find some as cheap as $90 or as expensive as more than $150. It's those issues that City Councilman Tyler Dos Santos Tam and State Representative John Mizuno want to hear about at a town hall tonight. But they'll also be focusing on Bill 20. It's a measure that would make restricted parking zones like the ones that are in Kalihi Valley now, a pilot program from 2017, permanent, and look at expanding them to other places on Oahu. Reaction from downtown parkers is mixed.
Small businesses want people that don't live in Chinatown to come here and, you know, shop and eat, and so it's kind of not helping certain businesses, but it might help the people that live here.
If you'd like to participate in that town hall and make your voice heard, we have all the information to do that at our website, hawaiinewsnow.com. Reporting downtown, I'm Casey Lunn. For now, we'll send things back to you.
A freshman lawmaker says he does not regret saying that a Hawaiian leader would have been hung for criticizing him. The exchange was recorded during a Kahaluu neighborhood board meeting over a proposed ban on aquarium fishing. State Senator Brenton AWA cast the deciding vote against the ban.
The fact that you talk about my grandfather, that's crazy, Rocky. That's crazy. Because honestly, if you're talking Hawaiians, Rocky, if you're talking Hawaiians, you would have been hung for not supporting a Hawaiian.
Wait, I don't vote for, let me finish this. I don't vote for legislators for their nationalities.
He does not deserve to hold office if that's the kind of person he is. That's how he truly thinks. Heva, I call that Heva.
That was the exchange between AWA and Hawaiian cultural leader Lealoha Raki Kaluhiva. Ka'ava resident Kamuela Kala'i, a Hawaiian burials advocate, is now filing complaints with the governor and Senate president.
Heartland Crow is rebuffing congressional requests for information about his financial dealings with Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. That's according to a letter the GOP megadonors attorney sent to the Senate Finance Committee on Monday. At issue are luxury trips and a favorable private real estate deal Thomas received from Crow but didn't report. Financial Committee Democrats are looking into whether those perks violated U.S. tax law. In a letter, Crow's attorney, Michael Bob, said his team has concerns about the scope of the inquiry. He writes that it appears to be for a broader campaign against Thomas and not for legislative purposes. Bob also stresses Justice Thomas and his wife are Crow's friends, so he says hospitality is natural. Democrats on the Senate Judiciary Committee are asking Crow similar questions in a separate letter they sent Monday. They want information on all gifts and payments over $415 Crow gave to Thomas, any other justice, or their family members. They also want an itemized list of the real estate transaction and trips in question.
Today, President Biden is hosting congressional leaders at the White House in hopes of ending the stalemate over raising the nation's debt ceiling or face economic catastrophe come June 1st. Alice Barr has more.
A high-stakes, high-risk showdown today at the White House as political heavyweights square off over the debt ceiling. Ahead of the top 4 congressional leaders meeting with President Biden, battle lines appeared hardened. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy earlier today rejecting the idea of a short-term extension and challenging the president.
He's wasted 97 days. I mean, this is the whole reason I went to him on February 1st. We did not want to put the country in this type of position.
House Republicans already passed a bill that tackles the debt ceiling alongside massive spending cuts.
If House Republicans get their way, it could also lead us to a recession.
President Biden insists any budget negotiations must be separate because failing to raise the debt limit means that as early as June 1st, the nation would start running out of money to pay its bills, including things like Social Security and veterans benefits. The Treasury Secretary calling that historic default scenario.
Really an economic catastrophe.
It would send shockwaves through the stock market, American savings, and even unemployment, adding to the tension, the consequences for both President Biden and House Speaker McCarthy. The president needs a strong economy to power his re-election bid, while the speaker is at risk of losing his gavel if he can't deliver on the spending cuts conservatives want. Neither side wants to show weakness, but both must avoid responsibility for economic calamity.
The discussions here today, most likely an opening bid as we move closer to that June 1st deadline. So often the Washington way requires the cliff to be right in front of you before a solution appears. From the White House, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Here at home, this just in. Tomorrow, the city will be announcing the grand opening date for the Honolulu Rail Project. This is for Phase 1 of the rail, which is the first 9 stations from East Kapolei to Aloha Stadium. Now, this announcement is happening tomorrow morning at 8:30 at the Halawa Rail Station. Stay with Hawaii News Now for more on that. Waiting for that.
Yeah, definitely. A long, a long-awaited announcement there. Let's give you a live look outside. This is over Hilo Bay, and as long as we've had this camera, this is a fairly new camera. This is one of the first days where it's kind of rainy, kind of cloudy, but it's a cool 73 degrees out there, and some showers are in the forecast. But of course, Hilo is always a little bit rainy. Let's go ahead and send you over to our Guy Hoggy.
Drier conditions will take over for the central part of the state and looks like going to linger for windward Hawaii Island and for Kauai as well. And then by tonight, we're not going to see much more than a few minor splashes. So overall, we're in for a drier trend coming in by tomorrow when those winds really ease up. So your 7-day forecast, including Mother's Day, looks very nice. So for today, breezy winds, scattered showers favoring windward sides, drier by the middle of the day. And then by tomorrow, look at the winds dropping off from 15 to 25 today. It's going to be breezy today. To light 5 to 15, but at least we'll have a trade wind breeze because by Thursday, variable winds are expected to take over. That means higher humidity levels, morning sunshine, afternoon clouds, and some pop-up showers through Thursday, and trade winds come back just in time to give Mother's Day a little bit of a tweak and a little bit of a gift out there. Things are looking good for Mother's Day.
Thank you, Guy. Let's see what the internet is talking about. Now, there's been a lot of debate about when to start getting mammograms and how often. Now, a key task force is proposing a change to breast cancer screening recommendations, and as Astrid Martinez reports, it could save nearly 20% more lives.
It's been nearly 6 years since Sarah Giglio's breast cancer diagnosis. She was 42 years old with 2 children, her youngest just 3 months old.
They kept me going. I really tried to be present in the moment and be thankful for the small things.
Her breast cancer was picked up on a routine mammogram. She underwent a double mastectomy, reconstruction, chemotherapy, and radiation.
I did find out after the surgery that the cancer did spread.
In 2009, the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force controversially advised against routine mammograms for women in their 40s and encouraged them to make an individual decision. Now, the task force is recommending women at average risk for breast cancer get mammograms every other year, starting at the age of 40, in light of new science.
The issue here is to balance the need for early detection with the problem of overdiagnosis and overtreatment.
Dr. Jules Cohen with Stony Brook Cancer Center says he and many other doctors think women should have annual mammograms starting at 40.
We think we can hopefully split that difference by doing some sort of risk stratification so that we don't overtreat just because we find something early.
Cancer is a part of my story. It was a chapter. But it didn't define me.
Sarah says screening saved her life.
I am happy to be sitting here today, and I hope this reaches all your viewers. Please, please, ladies, get your mammograms.
Because she knows lives are at stake. Astrid Martinez, CBS News, New York.
Now check this out. New Jersey police are investigating after a possible meteorite crashed through the roof of a home near Trenton yesterday. Authorities say a metallic, oblong-shaped object believed to be a meteorite broke through the roof of a home in Titusville and landed on a hardwood floor. No one was injured, but the resident said she touched the rock and it was warm. Now, the rock was approximately 4 inches by 6 inches in size and may be related to a current meteor shower going on right now called the Eta Aquarids. Now, fire crews, EMS, and a hazardous materials team also responded to the scene.
What a pretty cool, kind of cool discovery, except the fact that it, came through your home and all that stuff.
It's like the beginning of like a superhero movie because she touched it.
Maybe she has superpowers now. Speaking of discoveries in your home, we want to give you a rather, I wouldn't say this is a fun story, but a homeowner in Colorado, she bought her first home and she was so excited until she found something inside. Take a listen.
After weeks of looking at houses,
it is 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms.
When Amber Hall walked into this centennial home, she knew she wanted it.
This is their first house with a yard.
Her family and their 2 dogs moved in at the end of March. You're a home buyer.
Yes, first house. Lots and lots of saving and work and time.
But settling in is taking more time than she thought.
So your garage, this is everything that you have yet to unpack. Yes, it's terrible.
Because of what her dog found in the back of her garage.
Well, guys, here he is, the snake.
That snake was just the beginning.
Yeah, you could feel like it was warm and squishy in there.
Hall says there were more hidden in the wall.
This is the 3rd one.
Of 10 snakes.
There he goes, right in my house.
Found in 10 days.
Because they're all right here, when you open this door, you have to be super careful.
When we came over on Wednesday, 2 were trapped.
My kids and I are afraid to sleep in our beds, afraid to use the restroom because snakes might come out of the toilet.
She hired a snake wrangler who says there's likely a den somewhere underground and that they've been living there for at least 2 years.
The snake hunting, the traps, already over $1,000 I've paid.
Do you have any suspicion that anyone knew that there were snakes in the wall, or do you think that you're the first one to find them?
I don't feel like I'm the first one to find them, but I don't think that anybody would ever say that they knew they were there.
She's not sure when or even if that feeling will ever go away.
It's rough. I'm 42 years old and this is my first home. I've worked my whole life for it. And I can't enjoy it. My kids can't enjoy it. I'm scared to death.
Saying she wants to rip up the concrete and find out where they are before she can escape from the snake saga that's her new home.
That poor lady.
That is one of my absolute worst nightmares. And I kid you not, that's one of the reasons I never wanted to move to the mainland, and I still do not want to. The fear of snakes, I cannot.
Yeah.
And just the thought, you know how they swim through the pipe sometimes, lift up the toilet seat and was there. No, thank you. No, thank you.
We'll take centipedes and cockroaches.
I live in White Kelly. There are a lot of centipedes there. So either way, no thank you.
All right, let's do some good news, you guys. It's Teacher Appreciation Week, and we like to take a moment to recognize some of the teachers in our lives who've made a difference. We have so many, but these are just a few. So, fun fact, Dylan and I have had the same teacher. She's on the left there of both of us. So she was Miss Nishimoto when I was in the 3rd grade.
And I had her when she was Mrs. Johto.
Yeah.
And then on the other side there is Mrs. Nii. Ashley and I both went to Wilcox Elementary. And so we love Mrs. Johto, Miss Nii, and so many other teachers there as well. We also want to show you some other teachers. Mrs. Iwohi, my high school digital media teacher. This was actually just last week when I saw her at the Olelo Youth Exchange, lifelong friends. And I also want to give a big mahalo and a shout out to Mrs. Ho.
I had Mrs. Ho too.
Yeah, English teacher. She was our student council advisor for our class of 2014. And this moment forever.
Is she doing the splits? Oh my goodness, Mrs. Ho.
This was during our winter assembly one year. She took the entire school by storm when she joined us in the lip sync, and she went down. That moment is iconic. Mrs. Ho and all our other teachers, we love you so much. But for all the other teachers, there are special offers and discounts going on around Hawaii right now. Just show your teacher ID at several locations and you'll get some good deals, more details.
Coffee, etc., donuts. Go get them.
Yeah.